Hi all, Faye and I have been thinking we would take part in the science challenge this week, and we wanted to do biology, chemistry and physics all in one experiment. So we had to think about what we've got in the house. We don't need to go out to the shop, and we decided that we would just use eggs and some simple acids that we can find in our kitchen. This is what we're going to do. So we need 2 eggs. The eggs have got a shell on, obviously. That shell is made of calcium carbonate. And if I put that shell or that calcium carbonate into some acid, it will break it down and it will release carbon dioxide bubbles, and we will end up with a floppy, like bouncy egg that has no shell on the outside. So our first experiment is we are going to compare Coke and vinegar to see which is better at breaking down that calcium carbonate. Okay, so Faye is going to put an egg gently into each glass so that the shell stays intact. And then into one glass she's going to pour some vinegar so it completely covers the egg. White vinegar is better because you can see what's happening. A little bit more, Faye. And straight away you can start to see that there are bubbles forming on the shell of the egg. That's because the vinegar is getting into the calcium carbonate, breaking it down, and it's releasing those carbon dioxide bubbles. All right, so we're going to leave that one for 24 hours. Going to keep turning it to make sure that all of the shell gets into contact with the vinegar. Okay, now in the other glass, we're going to add some Coke. Need to completely cover that egg, and because it's fizzy, you need to let the fizziness go down, and then make sure that the Coke has completely covered the egg. So the cats and Faye have come out to help me today, and as you can see, it's not looking very nice. There's the egg that was in vinegar, there's the egg that was in Coke. Now Faye doesn't want to put her hands in there to get them out, so I will pass the video over to her and we will get them out. Okay, so we'll get the one out that was in vinegar first, and as you can see, you see that, Faye? Mm-hmm. The shell has been broken down into calcium oxide. Right, you've got little bits of calcium oxide left on there, and then you can see a spongy membrane there. So it's actually now a bouncy egg. Okay. The egg in the Coke hasn't broken. All right, little bits of the shell has come off on the outside. You can see little tiny discoloration there, but it hasn't been acidic enough to break that shell down. So then chemistry wise, the acid in the vinegar is stronger than the acid in the Coke and has managed to break down the calcium carbonate. Biology wise, they started the same size. Now look at them. So in biology, what has happened is some of the water inside the vinegar has moved into the egg by osmosis, and now that egg has got bigger, and that's why now it's full of more water and it's very full and bouncy. So we have a rubbery bouncy egg. Okay, so that's our chemistry and our biology done. So the next stage is to do our physics, all right, which we will do next. So now we're going to do the physics side of our experiment. We've got an empty bottle, it's got to be a glass bottle, we've got some paper, and we've got a lighter. We are going to set fire to the paper, that's why we're doing it in the garden, and we've obviously got our egg as well. So what I'm hoping to do is light the paper, put it into the jar, and then we should, if we put the egg on top, see something happen to the egg. So let's see if we can have a go. It's quite windy, so the paper kept going out. Hopefully we can get it to work this time, she says. We need to be a bit patient. And what we can see happening is the bottom of the egg is getting sucked into the container, but I think the paper inside has gone out. You can see that egg is stuck in there. Now if that paper's still burning, it will suck the whole egg in eventually. And this is all to do with the law of physics. So basically the air pressure inside has got less because I heated up the air on the inside, I made it hot, so there was less pressure inside because the particles were moving faster, more pressure outside, and therefore the egg wants to go into the jar. But it looks like it's got stuck halfway. So the egg got sucked into the bottle because of pressure, so apparently we can get it back out using a little chemistry experiment that you can all do at home. Some vinegar and a spoonful of bicarb. It will release carbon dioxide bubbles straight away, and those bubbles should push that egg back out. Let's see if we can get the egg out. No. So we're attempting to get it out with the force of bubbles, but it doesn't look like it wants to do it. Just a bit of vinegar, bicarb, creates lots of bubbles. If we'd done that in a conical flask in school, it would pop back out of the mouth, but it doesn't want to do it today. At home, we'll try a little bit more bicarb. Okay, loads of bubbles. Let's see if we can get that egg out. We're going to burst the egg. Our egg is stuck. I think our only way is to burst the egg. Are we ready to burst the egg? Whoa! And there we have it. A bit of physics, chemistry and biology in action. There's the thin membrane that was left on the inside of the shell. Alright, so a bit like your animal cell membrane and what's on the inside of the plant wall, cell wall. Okay, so that's our science experiment done, nice and safely at home.